your kids will never be able to afford a home. That is what most parents think, but it's your job as a parent. I'm a parent. It's your job as a parent to put your kids in the right situation. And I'm going to give you a tip on how you can help them do that right after I ask you to hit that like button, because, hey, I want to get this information out to more parents who can then help their kids build wealth through real estate when it's their turn to buy. Okay, so I said before in this video here why it's so important to own a home by the age of 25, but how do people actually get into that home? Well, the first thing I want you to know as parents is children today are going to be set up by the actions that you put in place and the lessons that you teach them. Owning a property is how most people will gain their wealth over the years. So I do suggest that you encourage your children to buy property as soon as they possibly can. But how do they do that? Well, let me give you a suggestion. It's your job as parents to set them up for the future. But unfortunately, I mean, I love my kids. We don't want to necessarily put them in hard situations, but I think you should put them in this one hard situation. Second, they turn 18 and are out of high school, they need to be paying you rent. This is going to set them up for the fact that they're going to have bills for the rest of their life, and they're going to have to get used to paying those bills. Now, I know what you're thinking. A lot of people are saying, well, it's my kid. I want them to go through university and yada, yada, yada. Those are excuses as far as I'm concerned. I want your children to pay you rent, and I want you to get it to a spot where it's uncomfortable for them. So whether or not they're going to university or not, we need a part-time job, and we need that part-time job to be paying into your household, because not charging them rent teaches them that it's a free ride and that they should expect a free ride for the rest of their lives. And guess what, guys? It ain't. I know you're thinking, well, how can my kid possibly afford all the other things? Guess what? They're not going to afford those other things. They're going to pay into the rent and pay into the household. Now, how much do we charge? Well, that depends on how much they're making. But I do, like I said before, I want you to make it uncomfortable for them. And I want you to get to a spot where they understand that their money is contributing towards the roof over their head, no matter if they're in school or just taking it easy at a Macdonald's job. Now, I know what you're thinking. Man, you're a really crappy dad. No, I'm not a crappy. Well, I might be a crappy dad, but that's besides the point. Here's what I'm going to do with that rent money. I'm going to take that rent money in and I'm going to put it aside. You see, as you're collecting their rent money, your children should think that you're spending that money in order to keep a roof over top of their head. However, what you're doing is you're taking all that money and you're putting it in a bank account and putting it off to the side. You're having that money grow and teaching your child responsibility of paying bills all at the exact same time. And then when your child is either done university or they're not going to university and they do want to buy a property, you have a nest egg for them to give back. I want you to give the money back to them. They're your children. I'm not saying be a bad parent. Take that money that they've paid into rent that you've kept aside, give it back to them as a down payment. I guarantee you they will appreciate it, not while they're paying their rent, but when they go to buy that first property. And this actually does two things. Obviously, it makes you feel fantastic. You can help your children get into that, one bedroom condo or whatever they're going to get into at a very young age, because you've got them to a spot where they can appreciate home ownership at a very young age and start building their own wealth. And they've done it on their dime. But it actually does one more thing. It actually helps you stay off of their title. So if you do have this extra chunk of savings that you can give them, that's very likely going to get them to a spot where you don't have to co-sign for the mortgage. Because remember, now in Canada, or at least in BC, in my marketplace, when you sign on to guarantee the mortgage, like so many parents have done over the years, you now actually have to be on title. That can have capital gains problems, can have all these other issues if you are on their title. So just collect their rent as soon as they turn 18. They're going to hate you, and that's okay. When they're 25 or 26 and they're buying their first property, you're going to give that money back to them unexpectedly, and they're going to love you. And when they get to their next home or the forever home and they get married, they're going to love you even more. So please just do that. It's not going to be easy to do, but you have to teach your kids responsibility, and that gaining wealth through real estate is likely the way that most people are going to gain their wealth throughout their lifetime. I hope this tip helps. I know it's going to make you feel bad in the first place, but trust me, your kids are going to respect it down the road. So it's just that easy. Take their rent money, put it aside. Don't tell them. As soon as you tell them, it ruins the whole thing. Help them get into property as soon as they possibly can, because they need to start stepping up that real estate ladder over time. And it has to start at a very young age with a whole bunch of responsibility. Thanks for watching. Again, click that like button, subscribe. It really helps the channel.